Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed the two topics. One is formal charge and another one is limitation to the octet rules. And in the beginning of this chapter, we discussed very clearly the atoms are achieving the stable noble gas configuration by linking with each other. So, the linkages we call as chemical bonds. The chemical bonds are of generally two types. One is covalent bond and another one is ionic bond. Covalent bond is formed by sharing of a pair of electrons between the two atoms. How the ionic bond is formed? The ionic bond is formed by transfer of electrons from one atom to the another atom. When the transfer of electron takes place from one atom to the another atom, the ions are formed. So these ions are attracted each other by electrostatic force of attraction. That electrostatic force of attraction, which can hold the oppositely charged ions together, is known as ionic bond. For example, you know very well sodium chloride, NaCl. Sodium electronic configuration is neon 3s1. So which can lose the one electron and it can form Na plus ion. As a result, it gets the stable noble gas configuration. Similarly, the chlorine configuration is neon 3s2 3p5. Whenever this electron is transferred to the chlorine, from sodium to chlorine, if electron is transferred, then it is converted into Cl minus ion and it gets the configuration of argon, Cl minus ion. After the formation of the Na plus and Cl minus ion, between these two, electrostatic force of attraction exists. This electrostatic force of attraction can keep together these oppositely charged ions. That we call as a ionic bond. So that's why the electrostatic force of attraction, which can hold the oppositely charged ions together, is known as ionic bond. That means for the formation of ionic bond, first the sodium can lose the electron, then electron is transferred to chlorine. As a result, the chlorine is gain the electron, that will be resulted into formation of anion. In the third step, the positive ion and the negative ion, cation and anion, hold together by electrostatic force of attraction. So these are the three steps are involved in the formation of ionic bond. That means the formation of ionic bond depends upon the three factors. One is lose the electron. To lose the electron, the amount of energy is released. The amount of energy is required to remove the electron. That is called here ionization enthalpy. That is the factor which is influencing the formation of the cation. The another one is this, by transfer of electron, this chlorine is gaining the electron. When the chlorine is gained the electron, which will be resulted into the formation of anion by releasing the energy, that is we call electron gain enthalpy. And that one, after the formation of cation and anion, these two are held together by electrostatic force of attraction. As a result, certain amount of energy is released. That energy released we are called as lattice enthalpy. And totally, so whether the formation of ionic bond takes place or not, that is depends upon the three factors: ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy value, and another one is lattice enthalpy. So these are the three factors which are influencing the formation of ionic bond. The first one is ionization enthalpy, and the second one is electron gain enthalpy, and third one is lattice enthalpy. So, for the formation of a cation, the atom should lose the electron. So, to lose the electron, definitely we need to break the force of attraction present between the nucleus and the outermost electron. So, definitely we require certain amount of energy. That energy is generally called ionization enthalpy. The amount of energy is required to remove the electron from the neutral isolated gaseous atom is called as ionization enthalpy value. So, in order to formation of cation very fastly, definitely that electron must be loosely bound to the nucleus. That means definitely there we require less amount of energy, and that means the atom which should form the cation definitely should have the low ionization enthalpy value. Whichever the atom having a low ionization enthalpy value, that is always ready to lose the electron. As a result, the cation formation takes place. So, which atoms are having the low ionization enthalpy value? That means the atoms which are larger in size. Whichever the atoms are larger in size, in that case the force of attraction on the outermost electrons is less. That electron is loosely bound to the nucleus. That's why it is easy to remove the electron from the outermost shell by using the less amount of energy. That's why the atom whichever it is forming the cation definitely should have the low ionization enthalpy and larger in size. Which are larger in size in the periodic table in each period? Alkali metals are always larger in size. That's why simply metals are always ready to lose the electron. They are always ready to form the cation because they are most of the time they have the low ionization enthalpies. The second one, to formation of ionic bond, we need to be first formation of anion is need to be takes place. How the anion is formed? By gaining of electron. So whether all the atoms are having the same tendency to gain the electron? No. So some atoms are having the greater tendency, some atoms are having the lesser tendency. Which atoms are having the greater tendency to gain the electrons? Which are smaller in size. Smaller in size. These atoms are having the greater tendency. So to gain the electron. So when the electron is gained, in most of the cases, the energy should be released. That is, we call here more negative electron gain enthalpy value. So the atoms which should form the anion must have more negative electron gain enthalpy. Because for the formation of ionic bond, first we need to be formation of cation and formation of anion. The formation of cation takes place by the atoms which are having the low ionization enthalpy. The formation of anion takes place by the atoms which are having the more negative electron gain enthalpy value. In that cases, first the cation and anion formation will take place very fastly. Okay. Then after the formation of cation and anion, these cation and anions are held together by electrostatic force of attraction. So whenever they are held together by the electrostatic force of attraction, the energy is released. That energy we called as here lattice enthalpy. That means, whenever the amount of energy is released, when 1 mole of ionic solid is formed from its constituent gaseous ions. That is called as lattice enthalpy. So here lattice enthalpy is more. That means more amount of energy is released. So that is clearly indicates that bond formation can be takes place very fastly. Because more energy is released means the positive ions and the negative ions are held together by the strong electrostatic force of attraction. That's why the more amount of energy is released, that is corresponding to the maximum stability. That's why if the lattice enthalpy is very high, so that ionic bond formation takes place very fastly, and the positive ion and the negative ions are strongly held together by electrostatic force of attraction. Like that, so the atom which should have the low ionization enthalpy is ready to form the cation, and the atom which should have the more negative electron gain enthalpy value, that is ready to form the anion. After the formation of cation and anion, these cation and anions are held together by electrostatic force of attraction. During this process, if more amount of energy is released, so in that case the ionic bond is said to be very strong and that bond formation takes place very fastly. So like that, these three factors are which are influencing the formation of ionic bond. Now let us take one example like the sodium chloride. Same, let us take here first the sodium, it is converted into the gaseous ion Na plus gas. So during this one certain amount of energy is released, that is we called here ionization enthalpy. The chlorine ion, the chlorine atom gain the electron and as a result we get Cl minus gas and this is called electron gain enthalpy value. This is the first step and this is the second step is takes place. What is the third step? These two are held together by Na plus gas and Cl minus gas, which will be result into the formation of 1 mole of ionic solid, NaCl solid. During this one, certain amount of energy is released, that is we call delta H is equal to minus U. Energy is released. Minus is nothing but here clearly indicates energy is released, that is called lattice enthalpy. So this is the third step. So you know very well, the first step is always endothermic process. Second step, electron gain enthalpy value. It may be exothermic or endothermic. The third step is exothermic. When we added the first, second and third one, so definitely if you are getting the more negative value, that case the ionic bond formation should be takes place very fastly. That but here one condition is there. The sum of the second step and third step should be greater than the first step, that energy factor. Why? Because if the second and third is greater than the first one, definitely the second should be greater, and that means the chlorine having the more negative value, then the chlorine is ready to form the anion. If the third one is okay, it also will be more negative, then means the Na plus and Cl minus ions are held together by strong electrostatic force of attraction. If it is a smaller value, the first one, whenever the smaller value is required, that is ready to lose the electron, that is ready to form the cation. And that means cation formation takes place very fastly, anion formation takes place very fastly, and cation and anions are held together by the strong electrostatic force of attraction, which will be results into the most stable ionic solid formation. Suppose if the second and third is less than first one, whatever the energy is releases in the second step and third step, it is less than the first step, the sum of these two. So definitely here we require the more amount of energy, that meaning. So more amount of energy is required means is it ready to form the cation? No. Whenever the cation is not ready to form, so is it forming the formation of ionic bond takes place? No. That's why the sum of the second step and third step energy involved, this should be always greater than which one? First one. Then only the total value of these three steps should be negative. That means energy will be released, that is corresponding to the stability of formation of the ionic solid. So that's why here the electron gain enthalpy value and the lattice enthalpy value, the sum of these two is always should be more greater than the energy required in which one beta? First step. In that case only the ionic bond formation takes place very fastly. Suppose the sum of the second step and third step is less than the first step, so in that case the cation formation does not take place very easily, so that the ionic bond is also does not form very fastly. That's why here we say only the three statements. What is ionic bond? Ionic bond is nothing but the electrostatic force of attraction which can hold the oppositely charged ions together is called as ionic bond. And what are the factors favorable for the formation of ionic bond? The factors favorable for the formation of ionic bond is depends upon the three factors. What are that? Formation of cation, formation of anion, and another one is the oppositely charged ions held together by the electrostatic force of attraction. The formation of cation we are expressed in terms of the ionization enthalpy and size. And factors for the favorable for the formation of the anion is depends upon the electron gain enthalpy value and size. And the lattice, that is formation of the strong electrostatic force of attraction, that is ionic bond, is depends upon the lattice enthalpy. So that means three: ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy, lattice enthalpy. These three are very crucial to explain the formation of ionic bond is takes place or not. The atoms which are having the low ionization enthalpy should form the cation very fastly. The atoms which are forming the negative ions should be having a more negative electron gain enthalpy value. The positive charged ion and a negative charged ion, when they are combining, if more amount of energy is released, that is called lattice enthalpy, that should be also high. So that means the atom which should having the low ionization enthalpy and the atom should be having the more negative electron gain enthalpy value, and whenever the cation and anion are combining, wherever the more amount of energy is released, in that case the ionic bond formation takes place very fastly. So these are the factors favorable for the formation of the ionic bond. And where in between which atoms the ionic bond is formed, I said, so the atom should form the cation. Which is ready to form the cation is always metals, and which is ready to form the anions, which are smaller in size. Which are smaller in size in each period of the periodic table. The last that is nothing but halogens. Halogens are oxygen family. So these are ready to always gain the electron, which are smaller in size. They are always ready to gain the electron, that's why they are ready to form the anions. So these are ready to form the anions. These are treated as non-metals. That means the ionic bond formation takes place between generally metals and non-metals. But there are certain exceptions are there, like ammonium chloride is there, NH4Cl. In between ammonium and chloride ion, the bond present is called ionic bond. But here, chloride is a non-metal. We can clearly say that the anion should be formed by the non-metal. But what about NH4 plus? The nitrogen is a non-metal, hydrogen is also a non-metal. So, but however, there are few exceptions are there sometimes. Between the non-metals also the ionic bond formation takes place. Very few cases, especially in the case of the ammonium ion. But in most of the cases, the ionic bond formation takes place between metal and non-metal atoms. So this is about the formation of ionic bond and the factors favorable for the formation of the ionic bond. So the next one is general properties of ionic compounds. The compounds in which the ionic bond is present, that compounds are called as ionic bonds, so ionic compounds. So these are some important general properties we need to know about the ionic compounds. One is, first one, physical state. So generally in most of the ionic compounds exist in solid state. So in the ionic compounds are made up of these constituent ions, positive ions and negative ions. These positive and negative ions are occupying the fixed positions in the three-dimensional space, which will be resulted into the solid state. Why? Because the positive and negative ions are held together by the strong electrostatic force of attraction. They are never separated from a large distance like in gaseous and liquid state molecules. Here all are very closely packed. That's why that will be resulted into a physical state, that is solid state. And the next one is general property is high melting points and boiling points. Whenever we see any ionic compound, generally they are possessing the high melting point and boiling point. The reason is, so in the ionic compounds, the ions are held together by the electrostatic force of attraction. This electrostatic force of attraction is always said to be very strong attractive force between the ions. So wherever the strong intermolecular forces are there, they will require the more amount of energy to break the ions. So to break that compound into the ions, that's why we require the high amount of energy that we are called as a high melting point and boiling point. In the ionic compounds, generally the ions are held together by the electrostatic force of attraction. That strength of the electrostatic force of attraction is very strong. So that's why we require the more amount of energy to break the electrostatic force of attraction present between the ions. That's why so the ionic compounds are generally possess high melting points and boiling points. So generally, so in the ionic compounds which are smaller in size and large charge, possess the the high melting points and boiling points. Why? Because if the ions are smaller in size, so they are very closely packed together, so they will require the more amount of energy. That's why, so they are possessing the high melting point and boiling point. Not only that one, even the magnitude of the charge present, either positive ion or cation or anion, it should be large. Then the electrostatic force of attraction is also should be very strong. There also we require the more amount of energy to break the bond present between the two oppositely charged ions. That's why they possess the high melting point and boiling point. Next, solubility. This is just like the principle like dissolve like. Generally, the ionic compounds are soluble in water or another polar solvents. Another polar solvents. Soluble in water or polar solvents. So because the attraction is developed between these polar solvents and the ionic compounds, that's why they are soluble in water or other polar solvents and insoluble in non-polar solvents. Non-polar solvents. And electrical conductivity. These are good conductors of electricity. In molten state or after dissolving in solvent. Dissolve in solvent. So because either in molten state or dissolved in solvent, they are broken into the ions. That ions are freely moving in that solution. So that's why they are ready to conduct the electricity by the movement of ions. That ions are responsible for the electrical conductivity. But whenever the same ionic compound is exist in solid state, that means without dissolving in a particular solvent, so they are occupying the fixed position and the strong electrostatic force of attraction is present between the positive ion, negative ions. That's why they do not move from one place to the another place. That's why they do not conduct the electricity in which one? Solid state. But once they are dissolved in a particular solvent or either in molten state, they will be dissociated into ions. That ions are responsible for the conductance of electricity. And the next one is ionic reactions. So when they are participated in a chemical reactions, so first they will be dissociated into ions, then the ions can be participated in the reaction. That means the characteristic of an ionic compound is depends upon the properties of the ions which are involved in a reaction. And a non-directional character. Because when we see the covalent compounds are exist as a discrete molecule. But in the ionic compounds, the independent molecules do not exist. So the positive and the negative ions will be arranged in three-dimensional space. Each positive ion is surrounded by the negative ions. Negative ions are surrounded by the positive ions uniformly. Therefore, their electric field is non-directional. That's why the ionic bond is also said to be non-directional bond. The ionic bond is said to be non-directional bond. But in the covalent bond, so the bond is exactly present between the two nuclei. So that's why that is a directional bond, but ionic bond is said to be non-directional bond. So these are some important properties of ionic compounds. So most of the ionic compounds are exist in solid state because of the strong electrostatic force of attraction between the positive and the negative ions are held together very closely in three-dimensional space. And it comes to the next one, high melting point and boiling point. Generally, because of the strong electrostatic force of attraction present between the ions, we require the more amount of energy to break that bond. That's why, so they are having the high melting points and boiling points. Generally, so the ions, either cation or anions, which are smaller in size, so they are attracted very closely together. There we require the more amount of energy. Those compounds are possessing the high melting point and boiling point. Not only size, so which are carrying the more charge, they are also will be held together very strongly by the electrostatic force of attraction. They can also possess high melting point and boiling point. Solubility, the most of the ionic compounds are soluble in water or polar solvent, insoluble in non-polar solvents. electrical conductivity. So the ionic compounds are the good conductors of electricity, either in molten state or after dissolving in a particular solvent, either water or any other polar solvent. Because once we dissolve in the polar solvent, they will be dissociated into ions. That ions will be carries the charge that is the responsible for the electrical conduction. But whenever it is in solid state, if that compound is exist in solid state, the ions does not move from one place to the another place because they are occupying a fixed position. Once there is no movement of ion, there is no conduction of electricity. And ionic reactions, whenever the ionic compound is participated in a chemical reaction, it will be breaker into the positive and negative ions. Those ions are participated in the chemical reactions. That ions are the characteristic properties of that ionic compounds. Non-directional character. Like in the covalent compounds, these in the ionic compounds, the discrete molecules do not exist. The positive and negative ions will be surrounded by each other with a fixed number that will be resulted into the electric field is non-directional. That's why the ionic bond is also said to be non-directional. So these are some important general properties of ionic compounds.